Welcome to another session on one of the finest and very important for the developers, how to handle the exceptions. We need to understand generally what is meant by exception handling. So before coming to this video, please everyone try to check a video called X versus Y differences in your that folder. First try to check X and Y differences. There I have given every differences why we need to learn Java, what's the differences between C and C++, C++ and Java, and what are the OOPS concepts and what differences we need to learn. We have given everything. So once done with that topic, only come to this topic so that you can understand the hierarchy of your exception handling. Okay. Now, what is meant by exception handling? So exception handling is nothing but it's an abnormal condition or abnormal termination, right? So which is of unchecked error, unchecked exception, nothing but your compiler is not going to check. It is going to check by your runtime. So which are the exceptions which are not checked by your compiler but checked during your runtime is called as exceptions. Let's take very simple and very common example. I have initialized now number 1 equal to 20, number 2 equal to 20. So number 2 equal to 0. Now whenever I perform number 3 equal to 20 by 0, it's infinite value, right? So right now your system doesn't know infinite value, so it will give some error. We can't understand. It will give some message called java.lang.arithmetic exception. For a common people, it can't understand, right? For a common people, we can't understand what is a java.lang.arithmetic exception. You are BTech people, you can understand what is arithmetic exception, but common user can't understand, right? So instead of that user defined, instead of that customized message, instead of that predefined message, now we need to give our own message, right? So please don't enter 0 in the place of denominator. That will be fine that user can understand, oh, we can't enter 0 in the value of denominator. Then how we are going to handle the exceptions means the famous thing, how to handle your exceptions. One thing, the first one, try block. Try block generally is going to find out where exactly problem is trying to hit. Where exactly the problem is trying to hit. Nothing but in Java try block, we can write the code that might throw an exception. Nothing but there might be going to arise a problem in future, like that we can think it. A try block in Java must be followed by either at least one catch block or one finally block. Remember. So a try block in Java must be followed by either at least one catch block or one finally block. Now what is catch block? So after hitting the problem, nothing but after trying the problem, now your catch block is going to say this is what type of problem. Nothing but Java catch block is nothing but used to handle the exception that may occur in your program. It must be used after try block only, right? We can use more than one catch block with a single try block. Okay. Next, what is final? Whether exception is present or not present. So in order to deliver our message, in order to give a message, we use finally. So finally, block in Java can be used to clean up your code or release some resources that are utilized in Java. Finally, block is always run whether the exception handle or not. Okay, next, very important, and what is meant by throw. Throw keyword in Java can be used to throw an exception, nothing but it can throw exception explicitly, nothing but we can throw either checked or unchecked exceptions using your throw keyword. We'll learn by using some examples what is meant by throw exactly. So what is meant by throws? So throws is a keyword in Java used for declaring exception. We can declare only checked exceptions using throw keywords. So it's a programmer's responsibility to provide the exception handling, right, code, so that normal flow of the programmer can be handled. So generally we use how to use throws, your return type, your method name, next throws, exception class names. Okay. So generally we have discussed what is exception handling and how to use now try catch block. Now we'll solve the previous problem. So previously what happened, whenever I perform number 3 equal to number 1 by number 2. Now right now what happened, 20 by 0, it's infinite value, right? It's infinite value. So now I am writing this problem in try block and there might be a rise problem. If number equal to 10, there is no problem, right? So nothing but 20 by 10, 2. Number 3 will be 2, right? Number 3 will be 2. Like that we can perform it. Like that we can perform it. But if your number is what here? Number 2 equal to 0, right? What I am doing? Try to check it. So here infinite value, right? Now what happened? Now I got some problem. So what problem means infinite value? Now your catch block will going to understand that this is arithmetic exception. This is your arithmetic exception. And what we can say means we can deliver our own customized message that number, or you can write denominator cannot be divided by 0, or denominator cannot be 0, or number cannot be nothing but your number 2 cannot be 0. Number 2 cannot be 0. Got it? Like that we can perform, my dear. Like that we can perform. So again, I'm doing one activity. What is number 3? Number 3 equal to number 1 plus number 2, 20 plus 0, nothing but 20, system dot out dot 0. System dot out dot printed. Number 3 will be now 20. See, now instead of previously java dot lang dot automation, now I'm getting my own customized message. Nothing but numbers cannot be divided by 0, or what you have written, number 2 cannot be divided by 0. It will going to display it. Now, what's the use of your exception handling means? What are the advantages means? First of all, it maintains the normal flow of the program. Why? Because suppose if in your program, there are many statements and an exception occur in midway, then the statement after the exceptions will not execute, right? And program will terminate and we get system generated error message, which is not understandable for a common user. So by using your exception handling mechanism, all the statements your program will execute and do not break the normal flow. And it generated a user-friendly message rather than your predefined messages or system generated error messages. So that's the use of your exception handling, advantages of your exception handling. Now let's see what is your nested try example. So nested try is nothing but we having multiple tries and multiple catch blocks, nothing but try within a tries, try within a tries. So let's see one simple example how to use your nested try catch block. So generally your program execution starts with your public static void main. Now I am taking my method called check exception. Now I'm assumption that now here there might be some problem in calling that function. Now the check exception, in the exception, when we call this exception, this is my static method, right? So why are using static method? No need to create again object reference, right? Now again here what is? In try block, what I am writing? So I am writing result equal to 3 by 0. What is here? Result equal to infinite value, right? Infinite value. What is it? Infinite value. So what happens generally? It is an infinite value, right? So again, finally, first it will deliver. Finally, inside method will be going to print first. But if you check here inside, what does it say? Infinite value exception, right? Now, what type of exception it is? Your check exception is what? Now I got one exception called what? I am getting what? Arithmetic exception. So arithmetic nothing but division by 0. Now it is going to cast that we are going to say this is arithmetic exception. This is your arithmetic exception. And finally, again, what I am going to do? Yes, finally, outside method will be going to print it. Got it? See, first what happened? Inside method, because you are try catch. So we are calling this method, right? Once we are done with this method, we need to return back, right? So again, we got a problem called arithmetic exception. We are delivering message called arithmetic exception. So after that, again, we are printing finally. Like that, we can do it. Next, how to use throw block? How to use throw block? How to use throw block? So generally, what is meant by throw? Let's see. So general syntax will be throw can be used inside a method or inside your condition statements. Inside a loops are inside your condition. Nothing but in your statement. Nothing but inside a method or inside a control statement. So I'm writing if your condition is not satisfying something. So what we are going to do means we are going to throw our own exception. We are going to throw our own exception explicitly. It might be arithmetic exception or it might be any exception, whatever you're going to define it. Okay. Now let's take one simple example how to define this thing. See, now what I am requesting, right? Whenever your value number 1 is greater than 900, let us imagine if my value is 100. Okay, so I'm scanning it. Again, if my number is 200, now I'm calling one method called add by passing my values 100, 200. 100, 200. Now what happened here? Now 100, 200 will be here. Now 100 greater than 900. Throws an exception if number 1 is greater than 100 greater than 900. Condition is false, right? So where it is going? It is going to else block. What is in else block? Both parameters are correct. Now what I am returning back? Nothing but 100 plus 200. I am returning back 300. So what it will print? It will print 300. It will print 300. But whenever I am giving in number 1 as 1,000, now what I am passing? I am passing now 1,000, 200. Now what is your number 1? Number 1 will be 1,000 and number 2 will be 200. Imagine. Now 1,000 is greater than 100. 1,000 is greater than 900. True, right? Now I am throwing one exception called, my new exception called arithmetic exception. Generally, what is arithmetic exception? Division by 0, right? Now instead of that division by 0, now I'm writing my own message called number 1 is greater than 900, hence exception is thrown. That is my own default. I am condition I am giving myself, right? That your number one should not exceed more than 900. Whenever it exceeds, I need to throw an exception like this. That is true. That is true. Now what it will throws? Now it will throws an exception with a customized message called number one is greater than 900. See, let's see one example. Now what is my number one? 1000, number two 7. Now it is thrown one exception called Java dot. Now what is a message? Now this is my own customized message that number one is greater than 900 and exception is thrown. Got it? Like that. Again, if you observe, for his, I don't have any problem. So because number one is less than 900 only, so that's why it is both parameters are correct. And we are printing the result 300. We are printing the result 300. Next, how to use throws block, how to use your throws. So generally throws is nothing but try to observe the syntax. So your throws should be attached to your methods, nothing but return type. And what is your method name? Okay, after your method name, throws, and what type of exceptions. Okay, it might be arithmetic exception. We'll see what type of exceptions. Let's take again simple that exception example. Your public static void means starts with here, right? Okay, so I'm enter number one and number two. Let us imagine my number one is 100. My number two is 10. Now I'm calling a method called divide. Okay, what is that? 100 comma 10. Now what happened? Now it is calling your static method here. So what is static method? No need to create your object references, right? So what is your number one? Number one will be your 100. And what is your number two? Number two will be 10. So this is my method I'm calling. Here it is no problem because in denominator it is not 0. So that's why result will happen what? 100 by 10. 100 by 10 is nothing but 10. It will return what? It will return a value called integer value called 10. Now again result will be 10. So when we arise a problem means whenever our number 2 will be 0. Imagine whenever I'm giving my number 2 equal to 0, my dear. Number 2 equal to 0. Now what happens means try to observe. This is number 2. Now your denominator is 0, right? Now it will throw an arithmetic exception. What's the default message of arithmetic exception? Division by 0. Got it. Now try to check how to see this output. See, number 1 is 100, number 2 is 0. Now what exception is saying? Java.lang. Now what is the customized message? It is giving, predefined message, division by 0. Division by 0. Like that you can give it. Like that you can give it. Got it. No sir, I don't want this division by 0. I want to give my own message means then what you need to do, my dear? So then you just try to have your here. Now what you need to do means by using throws we can do it. Okay. But no need. When you are using throws, again, why to go with throws? That's necessary time waste. Next, how to use single try. Nothing but next, see how to use your finally block. So generally, finally block should be after try block only. Finally block should be after only. Finally block should be after try block only. Let's see one simple example. Same the division by 0 only. Okay, let us take one simple. Number 1 will be 100. Number 2 will be 10. Imagine. Okay, now I'm calling a method without returning here. What is it? I'm calling here it is 100 comma 10. So what happened? Now it will goes to a method called divide. Divide 100 comma 10. Result equal to 100 by 10 is nothing but 10. Now what it is going to return? It is going to result nothing but 10. It is going to result 10. After 10 again what happened? It will come to this statement called finally block is always executed. But now, whenever your denominator is 0, what happens means now you're passing your values 100 comma 0. Now what happens? Try to check. So here it goes 100 comma 0, nothing but 100 by 0 is infinite value, right? So this is an exception happening in your try block. Okay, try block. So what happened? It is catching an exception that exception while performing division. Now e dot means it will write a message called arithmetic exception java.lang arithmetic and division by 0. It will throw. Suppose if you people are really not aware of what type of exception means, don't try to write your exception, right? Just try to write exception E and just try to print this thing, and this thing will going to tell what type of exception it has arisen. Okay. So after displaying this message, now what it is, again it will goes to a message called finally. Again it will goes to a message called finally. I am inside block. I am inside block. Try to check. See, so when your number 1 is 500, number 2 is 0, what happened? It is going in try block and catching an exception giving C. So this is your E.2 string. This is your E.2 string. So your exception, taking what type of exception it is. Again, what is saying, I am inside finally block. After printing, what happening, it is coming to finally block is always executed when there is an exception. Okay. So again, try to check. Yes. Okay, try to check. I have missed this statement, I think so. Just try to check it. Try to check it. 40 comma 2. What happens whenever you go 40 comma 2? Try to check it. That's it. 40 comma 2. First 40 comma 2 will be happen here. So after 40 comma 2, what happened? 40 comma 2 is nothing but 20. Result after division will be 20. Then it will print a message call I am inside finally block. Then it will come to what? Here. Finally block always executed even when there is an exception or not. Okay, that's the main agenda. Okay, next. How to pass an argument while throwing exception. How to pass argument while throwing exception. Okay. So now try to see. Now try to see how to pass. Generally your program execution starts from here, right? Now you are requesting user enter number to be divided by 3. Okay. Now I'm giving a number called 9. So number, nothing but number 1 divisible by 3. Now answer will be what? 3. Now result is 3 not equal to 0. Is it true? 3 not equal to 0. Yes. Now what it is? The input is not divisible by 3. Check it. No. 3 not equal to 0. So sorry. This is what is 3 modulo 9 modulo division is nothing but 0, right? So modulo division gives reminder 0 not equal to 0. Condition false, and it will goes to a statement called the input number is divisible by 3. Whenever my input is 13, now 13 modulo division of 3, reminder will be 1, right? So 1 not equal to 0, condition is true, right? 1 not equal to 0, condition is true. So that's why now I'm throwing my new exception called arithmetic exception. So what's the default message of arithmetic exception? Java line, nothing but division by 0, right? Now I am throwing my own message, right? Now what is my main message without using try catch? Input number is not divisible by 3. Input number is not. That is my own customized explicit message, forcible message. Got it? That is passing argument while throwing exception example. Next, how to use multiple catch blocks example. See, now your program execution start from here. Now I'm requesting enter the divisor to divide 100. Let us imagine again I'm giving your boring stuff 0 only. Imagine I have given 0. Now inside try block, what is happening? Try to check. Now this is my array, right? What is my array? Int array equal to new int of 10, nothing but size of 10. Size of 10, my array size is 10. Now what is result? Right now what is my result here? So result is nothing but 100 by 0, nothing but infinite value, right? I got problem here, right? I got problem, right? So what it is catching? It is catching arithmetic exception. That arithmetic exception has occurred. Let us imagine if I given a value call in divisor, I have given a value called 100. Okay, now what happened? Your array will be initialized. After that 100 by 10 will nothing but 10, right? Now what I am doing? I am trying to assign. What I am trying to assign a of 10, nothing but array of 10 equal to your 10 here. So this is array index out of bound exception, right? Again, I got one exception call. This is array index out of bound exception. Okay. If this is not any other type of exception, then it is going to be a common exception has occurred. See, by using try and catch block, we can't throw multiple exceptions at a time. In order to throw multiple exceptions at a time, you need to use throws. You need to use throws. Okay, do remember. Next, how to rethrow exception example. How to rethrows. So multiple throwing times. How to rethrows. So generally your program execution starts from public static void main. Now I'm calling call get string method, which is in my try block. Means now I'm calling what get string length is invoke. It's a static method. No need to create an object, right? Now right now what is my string length? String text is null. Now what is length? So whenever string text is null, it is null pointer, right? So what is length will become? Length will become 0, right? So whenever length become, now what is here? It is exception. What exception got? Null pointer exception is got. Null pointer exception is got. Now I'm throwing my exception. I'm throwing my exception. So after throwing that, again it is rethrowing here, right? We already cast the exception here, right? Again it is rethrowing to here. Now again what is this rethrowing? Some null pointer exception. See. What exception? See what happening. So whenever I am passing my input get length string, right now my string length is nothing but null, nothing 0, right? So what here exception is got? What exception got? that is your null pointer exception. What exception? That is your null pointer exception. Again, we are rethrowing to your, again, this catch one. In this catch one, what I am displaying, what rethrown exception, nothing but your Java dot, sorry. Yes. Caught your rethrown exception, nothing but java.lang.null pointer exception. What is that? Is your null pointer exception. Next, how to handle exception without using try catch block program. How to handle without using try. So it's not mandatory that after try block there should be catch. Okay. So after try block we can directly use finally block also. Let's see one example. So generally your program execution starts from here at public static void main here. Now I'm calling or invoking a method, nothing but do string, nothing, that's a static method. We are calling a static method, it goes to your static. So whenever some problem arises, it throws an exception. Again, what's same, that null pointer exception, right? So the text is null. Now we can't replace something by this, right? Because we don't have anything to replace here. Okay. Now what is finally? It will give a thing called what? Successfully completed string operation. So now here what exception is going to throw? It's going to throw what? Null pointer exception. It's going to throw what? Null pointer exception after your finally message is printed. So see output. Successfully completed train. So what is the exception it is? The exception is nothing but null pointer exception. Got it? Null pointer exception. Understood? Next of all, what is a null pointer? We already discussed. Let's take with another example. Again, I'm going with the same thing. I'm requesting to the user enter your string, enter your length text to find the length. Now I have given empty string, means I have pressed enter without entering any string. I have pressed enter without entering any string. Now what it will calculate? It will calculate the text dot length. Here I haven't entered anything except enter. No, that's why length will become 0. 0 double equal to 0, nothing but 0, true condition. Now your default text will become what? No, it's a null, right? It's null. It's your null. You're getting my point? So now I'm calling my get length method, okay, in which I'm passing empty string, nothing but my null. So what happened? It will goes to here. Now your text will become what, dear? Your text will become null. Okay. So whenever try. So what I'm trying to find out, I'm trying to find out the text dot length. Text dot length is 0 here. So that's why it's a null pointer exception, right? So the exception is caught what? Extra exception while trying to find it gives some this message. What message it gives? Exception caught. What is null pointer exception? Try to check. So whenever I requested, I have given string. What is string? str is nothing but 3 characters, right? str is nothing but what? 3 characters. String length is right now 3. 3 double equal to 0. Condition false, right? So condition false. So directly it goes to here. Now what you are going to pass? You're going to pass a string str. It goes to up. Now what is your exact string? Your exact string will be str now. So what you are going to find out? String length. What's the string length? String, the length of input string is 3, right? It will display message. Length of input string is 3. If you're empty, it will goes to exception. You're getting my point? See here, I haven't given anything, so that's why it is giving a message called exception while trying to find length of input, that is java.lang.null pointer exception. Okay. Now what is your array index out of bound exceptions? We already seen, right? What is array index out of bound exceptions? Let's take again one example. You are calling your program execution starts from here. You're calling a method called print array value. So in which, because no need to create objects, it will goes to a static method. Here, this is my new array of 5 size, nothing but 5 strings I have given in my array. Now I am assigning a value array of 10, which is array index out of bound, right? So array index out of bound, that is your array index out of bound exception. Now what is your number format exception? What is your number format exception? Now try to see. Your program execution starts from here, your program execution starts from here, right? So you are requesting to the user enter your string. Let us imagine I am requesting to enter my string. This is 1, 2, 3, which will be enclosed in double quotes, right? Now what happening? It is calling a method called number conversion. Here it is your 123 is your string. Now what I am doing? Now your number input will be what? Your input will be 123. Now what is in try block? Now I am trying to convert my string data type to integer data type. So what is your input string? 123. Now how to convert? Nothing but how to scan. Integer dot parse in. Parse is nothing but complete scan. One complete scan. What I need to scan? I need to scan only integers. So it is scanning and it is storing in number. Number is of what type? Integer type. Now after it will display a message call after the input integer after conversion is 123. Let us imagine now I have given 123 surfaras. Like this I have given. Okay, this is my input now. This is my input. This is my input. Now, if you check it, my dear, now I need to scan only integer values, right? But I am having integer 1, 2, 3. After that, I'm having strings. Now, this is called exception. So we can't scan, right? Because those are characters, those are strings, right? So now what happened? It is catching an exception called what? Number format exception. Number format exception. If you people really don't know what type of exception it is, just simply write what? Just try to write like this. Just try to write like this. Exception E, and just try to print what is your exception. Nothing but E dot toString or simply E. What it is going to display means C. So whenever you are giving your enter string is the. Now error while converting the input, and again here it will use what message means it is number format exception. Here it will use in the place of E, it is give now java dot lang dot number format exception, like that, number format exception. Got it? So that is your what? Number format exception. Now what is your string out of bound index or string index out of bound index? So generally your program execution start here, right? Now I'm requesting to the user enter input text. Okay, now while entering I have taken in try block. Let us imagine I have entered my string as like this. Hi. 3 characters only, but I'm trying to access what? 4th character. Is my string is having any 4th character? No, right? It don't have any 4th character. That is string index out of bound exception. It will throw an exception. Now imagine I have given my string input will be like this. Hello. Now what is a string at character 4? Nothing but your O, right? At 4th index, nothing but 5th, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Nothing but O. What is it O? It will print a message called O. It will print a message called O. Got it? That is called as string index out of bound exception. Got it? Now let's create how to create our own exceptions. Okay, previously what we have seen arithmetic exception, we have seen array index out of bound exception, number format exception, string index out of bound exception. Again we have seen what? Null pointer exception. Now I want to create my own exception. So whatever exception, it might be exception called MLR exception, it might be called CSE exception, whatever. Now I want to create my user defined exception. These all are predefined exceptions. Previously we have learned, right? Now I want to create my own exceptions. How to create my own exceptions? Nothing but your custom exceptions. Custom exceptions. See, what is my class name? My class name is custom exception. Now what I am doing, try to observe. Now what I am doing means try to observe here. What I am doing means your program execution starts from your public static void main. I am requesting to the user enter number less than 100. Okay. Now I'm giving a number called 99. Now I'm giving a number called 99. Now we need to validate that number, whether that number is less than 100 or not. So what you are passing to a function called validate method, your input called 99. So what happened now? It will check here. Now it will check what? Static void validate your input. Okay, 99. So this is your previously what we're going to write: throws arithmetic exception, throws array index out of bound exception, throws null pointer exception. But I want to create my own exception name, my own exception custom. So that's why now I have given my message name called, my exception name called invalid input exception. Now again I need to override it. What is your invalid input exception? We'll see it. Right now, what is my exception rate? Invalid input exception. Okay, previously generally how we write here, we write predefined exception names, right? We write predefined exception names. Okay, but now what I have given my custom exception name. Now what is your, if number less than 99, what is your number? Try to check. Number is 99 greater than 100. Try to check. Number is 99 greater than 100. Condition false, right? It goes to else block, and what it will print? The provided input is valid, so no problem. The problem is whenever you are giving your input as 199, okay, now try to check the condition. So 199 is obviously greater than 100, right? So what happened? Now it is throwing one new exception called, what is the exception? Invalid input exception. What's the message called? Exception. Okay. What it need to show that exception. Now, so this program need to be saved. First of all, you need to save this program as how? You need to save as custom exception dot Java. Fine. Don't try to execute. Just try to save it. Now try to open another notepad. Okay. Now try to create your known exception class name, nothing but invalid exception dot Java. Try to create this invalid input exception. Okay. Sorry. Try to copy Control C and try to open a notepad and try to save and try to write following code like this. Dot Java. Now this is your user defined exception name, right? So which is having the properties of your predefined exception. So means I am override nothing but what I am doing. So I'm overriding the properties of your exceptions, right? I'm overriding the properties of your exception. Means I can inherit all the things, right? I can inherit, right? I can inherit. So in your exception class, there might be a method called exception, right? There might be a method, nothing but there might be constructors, there might be methods. Now what I am doing? So in this method, this is my method name. Now I am passing some text. What text I am passing, my dear? So here you're getting your text message, right? What is your text message? Now you are passing your argument as what? Exception. You're passing your argument as what? Exception. Now it will goes to where? Now you're passing, what is your string now? Your string name is now what? Exception, right? Your string is name is you're passing exception. Okay, what is super class? Super class is nothing but we need to call. Super is a keyword which is used to refer your current class, parent class variables, parent class methods, and parent class constructors. Now, what is this? Now I am invoking parent class. What is my parent class? My parent class name is called exception. Now I'm invoking parent class constructor called exception. Then in exception we having own exception, nothing but constructors. I'm invoking. Now what I am passing? Here I am passing my exception name. I am passing one message called exception. I'm passing a message called exception. So it is overloading. It is overriding there. So you can do anything, my dear. So what you can do here, you can write your own exception right through. You can do right. So what message means? Please enter. What you can do here? You can request to the user, please enter number less than 100. You can request like this your message less than 100. Now what happened? This is your input, right? You are calling. This is your text you are passing. Now what happened? It invoke here. Nothing but now you're passing a message called what? Please enter number less than 100. What it is overriding your default message. It is overriding your default message. What it? Like that you can do it. Like that you can do it. Got it? Fine. So this is all about your customized exception. This is all about your customized exception, and this is about your exceptions. Okay, fine. So this is your exception handling, how you are going to handle the exceptions. Fine, great.